Now arriving at Lijiang Tower.
And ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the second WCU esports stream today. Only 2 of 2 this time, as we actually have WCU Crimson facing off against WCU Black in NECC Overwatch 2. I believe this is Emergence, right? Challengers. So I am joined here today by Disagree and Sponge, who played it earlier in what can only be described as a brutal matchup. But speaking of brutal matchups, we are on Lijiang, and we have WCU Crimson with Nona, Cook, Zero, Loose Goose, and Mega versus WCU Black running Gummy, Meja, Boo, Mango, and J-Riz. So should be a fun and interesting night.
With Mej on the team, this was an interesting pick, but we do see Ultra Cook also going the Symmetra here to try and get those turrets to just shred through the tank's health. Another big loss, though, for Black tonight, as one of their players was unranked, so they will not be able to play in this series.
And we see Black actually getting the teleport into the control point in the tower, whereas Crimson going for a less direct approach, just getting a teleport out of the gate to just run up a little bit from the side. See our first big fight tonight, trying to see who will draw first blood.
Currently, it is Mej on the Symmetra with Nona, finding Nona. Ultra Cook does find Boo, though, on the Reaper. But again, Lijiang Tower, through both games, Overwatch 1 and 2, has been a primarily Symmetra map, as both points are easy to TP into and just sit there with the turrets mowing down people.
And this is going to be a heavy match, not only in terms of fighting, but in terms of just, these are 2 teams who are here face to face. Neither wants to lose to the other. WCU Black actually looking for their first win this season, and WCU Crimson trying to come off of their loss from last week and just regain some of their personal confidence. So a lot of bragging rights and just general banter between these 2 teams. As we saw in the pregame lobby, just a lot of casual talk, but now all serious.
We do see Crimson find the point here, winning the team fight. They do give up Nano for it, as well as Pulse Bomb. So WCU Black definitely winning the ult fight at the moment, having essentially 4 ults almost online here for this engage onto WCU Crimson.
And the big one also going to be Diva ult, which does have the suit go in and just be a bomb. And we do see Gummy get slept there by Megu, just staying alive.
Ultra Cook is going for the ult here. He waits for that DM to go out, and they find the team trapped in this corridor. Not a good place for WCU Black, as Crimson does find the team kill. Black does still have 4 ults online here, compared to WCU Crimson's 2 at the moment, but they will have 4 as well in this next team fight.
And that comes down to 2 supports for Crimson having their ults, whereas only 1 for Black, as we see the next wave of a team fight. WCU Black going to the exact same position, as Zero waiting to backline as Tracer has the Pulse Bomb.
Misses the Pulse Bomb as Gummy eats it with his DM. And we do see the Nano on the Reaper. We'll see if Gummy wants to pop the self-destruct here. It does not look like it, as this is already in WCU Black's favor. Just got to get Nona and Zero off of this point here. Nona goes down. Megu is fighting this with his life, trying to protect his tank there. Zero gets found out, though, and we do see Beat come out for both teams there, as J-Riz and Loose Goose both pop. Lucio beat.
And as we near this, it is going to be a fight to the finish in this first round of Lijiang.
Gummy finds the massive bomb, possibly, but he only gets Megu, as Ultra Cook does get behind the wall before it goes off. But Nona, already injured. Boo takes Ultra Cook out. Mej finds Goose. And now they're forcing Nona back into his spawn as J-Riz finds Zero. And Nona did get picked there.
WCU Crimson going to need to regroup here, take half a second to just gather their bearings, figure out how to change their strategy here, because WCU Black, after having an early control, gained it once again and is not wanting to let up.
You see Zero with that pulse bomb. Mej is 10% off of wall. Mango is about 25% off of Kitsune Rush. Another massive ultimate that was introduced in Overwatch 2. Nona dives in, Gummy finds Zero's pulse bomb again with the defense matrix. We do see Wall come out. Mej finds Nona, and this is a massive fight currently turning on the side of WCU Black as Gummy finds Goose as well. Zero still holding off on the side here. Knows that she's going to have to go for the touch. Nona jumps in. He's going to probably prop Primal here, as that's the only way he can probably survive this. He does try and grab Gummy. Off to the side here.
And it looks like WCU Black going to take the advantage here. Crimson still just trying to find small touches here and there, but WCU Black getting the team kill, and there it will go in WCU Black's favor in this first round of Lijiang.
Majarshan being a massive factor there, just allowing the team to get in on top of Black with those teleporters and turrets. Gummy also getting some massive DM eats there, finding 2 of Zero's 3 pulse bombs.
But now an interesting second map here, as there's no good, easy way to teleport in with Symmetra, so
Correct.
we still see Majarshan sticking with the Symmetra. WCU Black here holding to the phrase of, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, not changing up anyone.
Right.
Whereas we do see Zero switching over to Cassidy, and Megasuka switching from Anna over to Baptiste, and Nona switching to the Reinhardt.
All interesting swaps. It does look like WC Black is going to go for a more offensive build here rather than a dive and just try and shove their forces deep into WCU Black's spawn and hallway. Already finding Gummy out of that mech, and Zero does find Gummy. Megusaka finds J-Riz, and that's what Black wanted to do, is just force WCU Crimson wanted to just force WCU Black to back right up into their spawn for a hard reset, as WCU Crimson will take point here.
It's going to be a very fast-paced first game, as we already saw the massive team fight at the start, and we see a second coming here, as we also see a switch from Gummy from that Diva over to Ramatra.
Yeah. And Alt's currently on the side of WCU Crimson here, almost on Shatter. Megu does pop the window. It's another massive ult coming out for WCU Black, as Boo is now having to also backpedal.
Name's getting a little confusing here, but what's not confusing is the absolute control that Crimson is holding in that point and not wanting to let WCU Black comes out.
Only finding Mej though, and Nona about to go down there when Megusaka does pop the DM. We do see Ultra Cook though come out with his signature Reaper Blossom, finding 3. Boo tries to counter it, and Zero very quickly picks him out.
I mean, 54% early on for Crimson here. WCU Black are going to need to try and push as a team. With only 3 ults is going to be quite difficult, though. Not having Kitsune Rush and not having that Reaper Blossom is going to hurt them, I believe.
Yep, we do see the Ramatra ult get popped here. It was nerfed in the most recent patch. Zero does somewhat get her ult canceled there by the ulting Ramatra, as he just walks up on Zero and stands there in McCree's face.
And we see WCU Black getting, I believe that was 4 kills,
Yep,
and finding the
5th
5th there to be able to take point over, as WCU Crimson getting a quick 84%, demanding control from the start. But this is what we saw last time. WCU Black coming from behind with what looked like absolute dominance from Crimson for most of that match to then hold off on point. But we do see Crimson here charging in as a team.
Mej does shut up turrets here. WCU Crimson does need to take this out. Nona does have the shatter, and he hits it, finding him. I think only one person there. I think he only found Gummy, but Nona does take out Mej with a fire strike. Gummy's in a 4-on-1 here, just getting slaughtered.
And there's 3 kills against WCU Black.
Yep,
The 2
Mango
supports
is
left
the
alone.
only support really stalling here. J-Riz needs to back up.
And control goes back in Crimson's favor, so this very well, it looks like we'll go to round 3. A very close fight from both teams here.
J-Riz will have to be the touching force here. He's skating along those walls, just trying to get in. And we do get the touch on point, but Gummy is hit with a Cassidy grenade. Another one of the swaps from Overwatch 2 with Cassidy getting a whole new kit. Ultra Cook does find another Blossom, finding 2. Nona hits a Shatter, finding Gummy. Boo tries to Blossom there and doesn't find anyone. And WCU Crimson will take point 2.
Very tough for Black to have that close control, getting that control fast, but then not being able to hold on. And we saw a switch from Medja to Junkrat there at the end, but not seeming to do much as that Blossom found them almost immediately.
We do see Ultra Cook and Majarshan both switch to the Symmetra here. This is by far the best Symmetra map on Lijiang. We'll see which Symmetra out-Symmetras here. Both teams running the speed boost. Boo does switch to a Bastion, though, hoping to shred that Reinhardt.
And we may see a fast change from that Reinhardt, being that Bastion is now in play.
Yep. We'll probably see a swap to Orisa. They aren't going for the TP to point. They just go for the TP straight out of spawn. We'll see what WCU does here, as they already TP to point, and they know what's coming. Reinhardt's shield does get slightly shredded there. He's about to lose all of it. We do see Gummy still on the Ramatra, forcing them into this corridor. They got to be careful, though, because J-Riz does have this boop. One backstep here, and J-Riz could get a massive 3-kill as he boops him off the map.
That Reinhardt shield is down, and Reinhardt is getting shredded there. Majarshan ending up finding Nona. And WCU Crimson looking like they're going to just regroup here, take a step back, try and get a different team composition maybe.
Yep.
But for the most part, looking like they're going to stick with what they have and just try and go back in. Nona actually does switch to the Winston here, knowing that that Reinhardt against Bastion is not going to end well. Sponge, you've been awfully quiet. Anything you want to add?
This is honestly a very, very interesting game. I've been focusing more on the camera aesthetic. But, you know, I really love how both teams are basically going back and forth every single fight. And it's never really like a clear decision who's going to win until the fight is over.
I mean, that's what we have to expect from these two teams, though. Both of them in challengers and just not wanting to back down to the other, wanting to prove that they deserve to be in that division and that they are better than their, essentially what is their teammates, but also their competitors at the same time.
Yep.
Battles between teams often go in favor of the team that is underestimated by the other. And as we see here, Black just taking control, finding both healers, or both supports, my bad, and having just about all 5 of their ults as they control point at 70%.
Yep. And with this being both Western teams, we can't really pick a favorite here. But definitely with past seasons, the fan favorite is definitely WCU Black, going up a whole division, just trying to prove that they deserve to move up there, as my co-commentator JoJo was saying. We do see ults coming out, though, for both teams, as they're all being popped out, but Majarshan finds Nona, and this is it. This is Lijiang WCU Black. They're going to have to go for a massive touch here, and it all relies on Zero and Goose, and they cannot get there in time.
I feel like it was definitely tough for Zero there, knowing that as a Hanzo, you can't do too much, especially at close range. Hanzo being one of those, you have to sit back and wait. And as we are about to see the play of the game here, as Cook is Reaper.
Yeah, it'll be that triple kill on map 2, I'm calling it here. He hits it here, finds that. Boo tries to do it, but Cook finds him out as well, canceling the Blossom.
I mean, honestly, first round of this match, astonishing gameplay from both teams. Something that, honestly, as all 3 of us on Slate, something that we really need to look forward, like that we can just look on in awe and learn from. So we'll be right back as they pick map 2, and we'll see where things go from here. WCU Black up 1-0. Welcome back, everyone, as we go to Blizzard World, and we're in Game 2 of WCU Crimson versus WCU Black. Fairly fast with the bans, as we see in chat, Zero continuing to talk about golf, something that was happening just out of nowhere in between rounds. But I mean, I've got to say,
we see Sponge looking at the map that doesn't even exist. It's just the aesthetic around.
Well, because it looks cool. I mean, you gotta admit.
That's
hey,
fair.
Yo, boo at the top golf. This is
That's-
saying golf is whack. They count backwards.
That's true.
But backwards,
But
I don't know if Meja meant WARDS or if he's trying to say like flog.
Our cameraman did
Instead of
just
golf.
try and nutmeg the statue there.
That would have been such a cinematic thing to do. Honestly, I would have loved to do
We
that.
do see Crimson going with a very heavy dive comp on a very pokey map. The Winston is a bit weird here, coming out from WCU Crimson.
And Mango just running their mouth in chat, just making things very entertaining for us on
Remember,
stream
guys,
here.
this is a family-friendly stream, so any of the chats you see in game, we do not endorse or condone. But great comments coming from both teams here. We do see a dive comp also from the side of from Black. We'll see if it pays off.
And remember, this is hybrid, so it is capture and then escort. So
They're going under. I think Crimson does know that this is going to come. This is where the Winston might come in handy. They do TP high ground. As I was talking with my co-commentator earlier, this is what Mej was built to do, is just TP in and wreak havoc on these fights as they find Goose. Zero does find the ammo field, but that's about it. Nona does find Mej there. Ultra Cook getting pushed back, though. Nona coming in, slamming down on top of J-Riz. And this is going to have to be a Black regroup as they back out of this. As Gummy did lose his mech in that fight as well.
well, speaking in terms of Mej as well, Sponge, you were saying something earlier about how Mej was talking to you about how this game was going to come down to the tanks and something else. if you
And the
remember my-
play style that each team essentially has, because, you know, Mej has played on both teams, and he knows both teams deeply. And so hearing him just say that, like, yeah, this is going to go 50-50 really shows that this is really a game that we have, like, here in front of us.
And something that was going on last season, as well as at the start of this season, is Crimson with Megusaka being as high level as he is. They have been prioritizing an Overwatch League comp with the Winston Reaper Lucio and just putting their own little spin on it, whether it be an Ana or the Hanzo that we see right now.
But additionally, we do see a switch from that Winston to a Sigma, seeing if that's going to make a difference with Nona still clinging on as tank.
Yep.
Something that also with Meja playing for both teams that we thought could be fun is seeing if Meja ends up subbing in for Crimson this match, which is, it's possible. We're not going to discount that it's not a possibility, but at this point, Black looking like they're going to rely on
Gummy,
Meja's Symmetra.
Actually, all of Black applying a lot of pressure, just not on cart, just trying to find picks here, setting up for a massive kill here. Here comes the Nano. They're going for a Blossom probably here. We'll see if they get out. Gummy is saving that just to see if he can eat it, and he does. Oh, Majartian is found out there by Ultra Cook. Bomb comes in, finding no one. Nona does find Gummy, though, with a rock. J-Riz.
Getting Lucio. Zero finding the Mango.
Yep.
This is just back and forth, swinging both ways constantly. Megu finding J-Riz there.
It's a bloodbath here as Boo hops out, also with his Blossom. We probably, actually, that was a lot of ults used for Crimson here, as they have no ults online. And we'll probably see a Kitsune Blossom come in this fight with Mango's Kitsune.
And just, I mean, as we said, this is just a bloodbath right now. Both teams not wanting to give in. And we just see now a Sigma Ditto as Gummy switches over to the Sigma, as I just noticed, thinking it was Nona instead. Boo gets slept there briefly. Meja popping the wall. And not seeming to do too much with it, unfortunately.
Let's say we should see Kitsune come out here. We do see the Blossom. Kitsune doesn't even have to be used as we find Immo Field, or as Boo finds Immo Field, Megusaka, Goose, and Zero. and eventually Nona there, as they're just going to take second point here, and Nona has nothing to say about it, even with his ult.
I mean, that was just a phenomenal blossom there from Boom,
Yep.
finding 4, and then we do see it was Kook finding Boo there, but then getting taken out quickly after, pushing all of Crimson back to their spawn. So it's going to be quite the competition here at the end of Blizzard World, at the end of the first part of Blizzard World, as Black wants to keep up the pressure and Crimson trying to just stop them in their tracks, make their attack a little bit easier.
And this does look like it will be a back and forth ult fight, as both teams are just popping all of their ults to go full engage here. Boo does try and get the pick on Zero, TPing up there, but Nona does find him very quickly. Nona is holding on to that Flux. They might go for a Flux Dragon here. A very weird combo that works out as the Flux comes down to its bottom. Goose does pop the window there, not really finding anyone, but Ultra Cook did also switch to the Soldier, I just noticed, and he is almost at Visor. Here comes the Kitsune.
And here comes the Dragon in the Dragon and the Signal ult, as you mentioned.
Yep.
Nona just finding that Baptist in low field.
And Ultra Cook does leave the game, and Nona's the one in charge here to pause, but they're in a fight, so they can't pause. Now there will probably be a pause from Nona here,
Ultra Cuck.
as Nona
DC.
is the captain here. Nona has to be the one to
Guys.
pause it.
Guys.
We do see Black backing off of point there, being kind and respectful.
There
and
we go.
There's the pause.
There we go. Well, see what happened to Ultra Cuck there. But so far, this game is actually very, very, very close. Even still, like every fight, both teams are having a fight tooth and nail for the space that's just, that Black is very clearly commanding as of right now.
And even then, in the fights, they're happening so fast that even if someone gets taken out, they're almost immediately able to jump back in as soon as they respawn. And the time of the spacing doesn't quite reflect this, but it's still very much back and forth. This is still anyone's map right now. All it takes is a couple of good shots and attacks from WCU Crimson, and WCU Black is going to be pushed back, and they're not going to be able to come back into it. But it's going to be very telling once Kook does rejoin and we get back to it. But for now, it's just kind of an interesting pause, as we can't do much. I mean, Kook disconnecting, it looks like.
Currently disagree. Might be looking to get some news on what happened to Cuck there, but
Ash is getting slaughtered by a Reaper as I commentate behind her.
What happened with Kook there? Do you know?
No idea. He got full DC'd. He just restarted the game.
Gotcha.
Oh,
So
okay.
could it just been a disconnect from on Blizzard's side?
Probably.
Or
or
it could have just been something with the PC sending a kill switch when we don't really know. I mean, we can't know. So
Thought Cuck was on a hot streak there and it just had to get him out of the game.
yeah, just
It's Black's side of this fight.
Black DDoSed Cuck there.
Black DDoS Cuck. Just trying to get that upper edge. He is the threat here. Nagasaka actually on the Brigida, which I didn't even realize, and he does have Rally. While we sit and wait for Cuck here.
Just gonna see about if we could see the player stats here, but it's paused. So
we will have to take a check in just a minute once this round is over. And by just a minute, I do mean it could very well be 3, as we could very well reach overtime. As Sponge and I were discussing this, as you were out there trying to figure out what happened to Cuck. Despite the distance and the time left, this is still very much anyone's fight.
Right.
There is not much downtime between when players get taken out and when players jump back in. It is a constant cycle on both ends, and it just swings either way at any given point.
I'm gonna make a bold prediction here. I think we're gonna go to round 4 with the points being very close. I want to say both teams get first point, but whoever is attacking first, which is obviously time dependent, but whoever attacks first, will get it just barely further, and not by much either. But they're gonna barely be able to clutch in. I'm gonna make that as my prediction. What about you guys?
As I said earlier, the fan favorite here is definitely WCU Black, moving up a division, trying to emphasize why they are in challengers alongside Crimson last season. Crimson stayed in their division, the same division they actually went 1-9, I believe, last season. So this is also Crimson's redemption arc here.
And Crimson having won their first match of the season, losing their second, so they're trying to come off of that loss. And WCU Black trying to prove that they belong here, going off of 2 losses in a row.
Yep.
So it feels like that Black definitely wants to show that they have more to them than 2 straight losses. And Crimson trying to show that they aren't defined by going 1-1 so far. So,
Right.
Again, neither team wants to give up any points at all, especially with it being in-house bragging rights as well.
Yep.
There's more to this on the line than just a win-loss in NECC.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, definitely. But, I mean, it is the Western Colorado University Overwatch Civil War. Both teams got to respect each other, which is very good because we're all friends over here, but, you know.
And I would also like to comment on this as we saw it before the pause. Black actually being very sportsmanlike, stepping off that payload to just... They knew something was up and both sides were calling for the pause. So they stepped back, just trying to allow that respect to be there, as there's nothing in the rules that said Black couldn't continue pushing that until the pause actually occurred, which would have drastically hurt Crimson here. As you can see, they're all in spawn. And we are hopping back in here.
And looks like Kook does join the game once again. And as you said, and as I mentioned, as it happened, Black taking that step back really shows the respect that these two teams have for one another. And it really proves that it doesn't matter that this is NECC. This is about respect and winning honorably, not about just getting the win.
We do see Wall come out here from Mej. Not really much Crimson has to answer it. They do pop the rally, and there goes the ammo field. Mej is still just lighting into their team, poking that high damage. Gummy has to get out here though, but he is going to be picked off by Ultra Cook.
And there's the team kill
What
for
a
Crimson.
turnaround.
As we said, it could go in anyone's favor at any point. With a minute 57 left here, I mean, Crimson obviously has to hold off quite a bit with very little distance for Black to have to move the payload forward. But, I mean, it's just going to be a all-out brawl to the end here.
Right, but Crimson is about to have the Dragons from Hanzo, as well as they're already halfway to Ultra Cook's ult after being disconnected here. Gummy does TP up on Ultra Cook. A massive TP there, finding Ultra Cook with a rock, forcing Crimson back into this final point of Blizzworld. And we try and see a poke here. Nona does find J-Riz, but Gummy finds Megusaka. It comes down to Goose pops the ammo field here. Nona does have the flux. We see the Kitsune try and come in here, but the Dragons zoom past their heads, only finding Majarshan though. That's a bloodbath on point as Boo finds Nona, Goose, and Ultra Cook. It's up to Zero here, who finds Boo, and Mango staying on that point alongside his co-support J-Riz, trying to force the point into there, but Zero does force them off alongside Megasaka.
Zero managing to hold that, like you said, and that was just a 1 versus 2 there. Any sort of boot from J-Riz could have sent Zero off enough for Black to get that final push to the end, but as we mentioned...
You see Visor come out from Ultra Cook here into the window, not really finding anything. J-Riz is going to get picked off here, it does appear. No, J-Riz gets out alongside his team. There's 20 seconds left. They have time for one push.
And they are going to have to rely on Gummy's ult here and Meja getting that wall as soon as possible. But Nona and Megu both having that ult, so we're going to probably see Megu pop it as Crimson or as Black gets in there. Nona going to try and pop that ult as well.
They try and surprise TP. They do pop it. Megu does pop the trans. Only Sigma found in the ult. And it does look like Sigma will go down, but the wall does come out. Jair is almost to beat there. It's a bloodbath on point here as Gummy is stalling here, just trying to allow Jay to get to the point and
Zero
hit that
finds
beat.
Blue.
Gummy throws up his wall. Gummy finally goes down to Zero, but Mej is on point. The beat comes out. Mej needs to get some picks here though, as this time is dwindling. We will see a TP come out here from Mango, who should also have Kitsune Rush. He will hit the Kitsune Rush as Gummy swaps to the ball.
And there's just another touch there from Black, but...
And another touch as Gummy touches point with the ball.
Going down to the last possible second before they touch it, and that is going to do it. 2 points for Black, as it seemed sure that they were going to push it all the way to the end. As we mentioned, as we came back in, 2.5 minutes left, anything could happen there, and we see Crimson just able to hold out Black in the last possible seconds. Constant cycling with the deaths and just touch after touch after touch. Black trying to get in there, but just not quite able to find it. But the nice thing for Black, though, is they have just set all the pressure on Crimson. Crimson now has to get just about all of the way on that point to win this bout.
Yep. And as WCU Slate found out last season with specifically Blizzworld and Rialto, you can view it in Spectator.
Apparently not.
As Slate found out last season on the maps like Blizzworld and Rialto and Hollywood, is all 3 points require very specific different comps. So that last point can come down to essentially anyone. It's more dependent on who can out-comp the other team. As JoJo was talking with Majarshan earlier, that is something that was brought up, as we mentioned earlier on stream, that it's just a comp battle at this point to see which comp can beat the other comp. We do see the dueling Symmetras again here. Zero on the Sombra, though. Another weird pick from Zero there, as Zero is known as our sniper.
And, I mean, Zero could have been practicing this a lot, especially in the off-season, too. We had that month break, from fall to spring, and we also had that 3-month gap between spring 22 and fall 22. So, excuse me, again. Plenty of time for anyone to pick up any character.
Zero is pulling off a strat that WCU Slate has looked into a couple times, using that Sombra in Invis mode to just scout out what the enemy team was doing before any engage happens here.
And we do see Zero go back to Hanzo there. I mean, that seems to be their staple, though.
Yeah, that's what I'd say.
But we weren't able to quite discuss it. Dis, going off of what Sponge was talking about earlier, do you have any predictions for the end of this, how the series is going to play out?
Currently, as we see, Black is putting a lot of pressure on Crimson here, as Mej has some of that insider insight playing for both teams and practicing with both teams, so he knows what comps they're looking at for both teams. But respectfully, the past 3 seasons, Crimson has been the best team at Western in terms of power level. So it's still anyone's game, Black being the fan favorite. I have to cheer for Black, so I'm going to predict Black takes 3-0. But I can't be so sure, especially with how aggressive Crimson just got this point.
And we have Sponge predicting a 3-1 in Black's favor. We see Dis saying 3-0 in Black's favor. I'm going to be the odd one out. I'm going to say that Crimson's going to come back. Maybe not this game, but they could very well reverse sweep and take it to Game 5, something that I'm honestly kind of hoping for. A Game 5 battle to the finish, being that it is Escort in Game 5. So, I mean, that final battle is really going to be telling of who's going to take it. And I want to say that Crimson's going to end up on top. And, I mean, I want Black to win, being that they are the fan favorite, but I can't really root against either team.
Right.
So for now, it's just the sake of being different than my co-commentators here and cheering for Crimson as opposed to Black. But I do want it to come down to Game 5 in the very last possible second. I want it to go to Game 5 OT.
The one thing about knowing both teams here after watching them last season as well as watching Crimson specifically, actually it's mainly just last season this realization is shown through all of our teams, Slate, Crimson, and Black, is none of our 3 teams are actually good at push. So Crimson does know that they will have to play the push map here, and Black's just trying their best to essentially avoid that push map, because that push map will be a very big deciding factor if it gets played here. Gummy does try and go for the stun there as the Flux is shot out. The Dragons, as Gummy lands on the top, the Dragons only find J-Riz. We do see Transcendence come out alongside the wall.
And Boo gets taken out there by Nona. Boo does have the Blizzard, though, something that could very well change the entire turn or the entire momentum of this game. Something that we definitely saw earlier with Slate. Blizzard is one of the most effective ults if used properly. And knowing Boo and the composition of Black right now, that Blizzard's going to come out at the perfect time, and it is going to stun Crimson.
Except Zero does snipe Boo as he tries to probably go for that Blizzard to stop it.
Although Boo does get a headshot on the cuck there.
Yeah, and Crimson will take the second point, though. Both teams pretty even with where they were at going into the second point. If I remember correctly, I think Black had just under 5 minutes, and Crimson has 4.5 minutes. So Black definitely was favored going into the second point from their attack rounds. But as we saw, Crimson did immediately just hold Black at that last push up the hill into the roller coaster station.
And I do think that Black is a little bit stressed here. They might be panicking a little bit, just as they saw Crimson coming back from that 2.5 minutes to get it that extra few meters. Yep. And ending up taking that and keeping them from getting it all the way. So we might see a little bit of panic here. And we do see a change from Medja from, I believe it was Symmetra, over to that Junkrat. And that Riptire can really be the difference.
Yep, and we see a lot of pressure going in here. Boo does throw down the Blizzard. They're trying to get out of it, but they don't have the... They don't have the Suzu from what usually is Megasaka's Kiriko to unfreeze all of them here.
And that looks to be about a team, close enough to a team kill there, with Zero already being back. But Zero does have that dragon, which is going to push everyone off of that point, or force them to take a heavy amount of damage, as Zero just tries to get some early picks here, being 1-on-5. But here we see the rest of Crimson coming back in. We see these Sigma
Flux
ults
go out. Jariz is not founded. Jariz hits beat as the dragons come in, so they find no one. Mej does find Ultra Cook here, though.
Gummy finding Mega.
And Boo is trying to force Nona back into his spawn, as Zero does find Jariz with a headshot. Or storm arrows, I mean. So, a lot of rapid fire machine gun there.
Just an absolute battle, as always. 2.5 minutes here, which is where we
There goes Gummy.
last time.
He gets stunned out of it, though. Trans was popped, though. That is actually a big help for Black here, as Trans is usually the counter for that Flux. Mej does find two, or actually finds one with his Riptire, finding the ammo field. But Gummy does find Goose and Megusaka, taking out both healers. And we're at the point where Crimson has to start getting on a roll here, as this is exactly the same point Black was at almost this exact same point.
At this exact time, yeah.
2 minutes left on that push away.
So both teams now feeling the stress. Black trying to not let this series get tied, trying to get that 2-0, getting that momentum into push. Whereas Crimson trying to swing the momentum back in their favor, trying to get up, trying to get that series tied 1-1. And knowing they don't have as much time.
You see Kitsune come in here. This might be massive if we can find a kill here. Goose tries to save him here with the ammo field, but Majarshan, Mango, and Boo just charge at them, forcing this as Boo finds Megusaka. And minute 30 left, pushed already back around that corner. This is not looking to be in favor of Crimson at all, but there are about to be 4 ults online for Crimson, while only 2 or 3 it looks like will be online for Black into this fight.
And, as we saw last time, we definitely thought that Black had favor going into that last little bit with 2.5 minutes and not far to go. But Crimson took it back into their favor, getting that little push. And speaking of that little push, we do see Nona find Gummy. Measure does find Mega, but it's not seeming to do too much.
Black is staggered here.
Measure gets taken out there by Kook. And we're going to probably see these last 2 ults, Zero and Nona, probably going to pop on point here as they come in and they take it. Crimson ties the series 1-1.
Boo tries to get that Blizzard in to stop it, but it's not in time.
Phenomenal round. In all honesty, you can't complain about that as either team. Black having a huge amount of pressure throughout the entirety of that match on both sides of that hybrid, but Crimson just being able to take it out in that last little bit. So Black having the issue of being able to start super strong but not quite being able to hold that through that entire round, whereas Crimson being able to not quite start with as much strength, but definitely finding it at the finish. So should be interesting as we get into round 3 here, but we will be right back as soon as that starts.
Tofu Jakarta. Initiating match.
And welcome back. Sorry about that for being a little bit late to the cast. 1-1 here. Crimson just taking that over Black, not by much. I mean, both teams here recognizing the skill of the other, and I mean, just this is a pivotal moment in our Overwatch careers from J-Riz.
It really is, J-Riz. It really is.
Nothing like NBA 2K though, Jay. I don't know where you get that from.
Who will take the lead from Tofu there in absolute battle? We do see Tofu on tank here. Was Tofu on? No, Tofu was not on tank.
Oh, Tofu's
It
on.
was
Tofu.
Gummy who was tank
switching for-
before.
Tofu switching for Gummy there. That's definitely an interesting choice. I don't think that Gummy on tank was a bad idea there, but I'm not going to say that Tofu on tank is a bad one either.
But with how, with Tofu playing this tank, I don't know why they wouldn't just pick Circuit, which is Sigma, by far Sigma's best map, and Tofu's house favorite for sure.
The home game. Both teams being the home team here, and neither team really being a true favorite. Both having their fans. So, I mean, this definitely is going to be a close one.
We don't see much chat going on here. From the outside of things, both these teams, as JoJo was saying, have massive fan bases. Like, I know for a fact my two roommates are both cheering for Crimson Black, as Black used to be a teammate to one of them, as well as the other one just being a more favorite of Tofu here.
I mean, Tofu is, I think, favored by everyone. Isn't Tofu a sub for all three teams as well?
Tofu, no.
Or
Mej is technically a sub for all three teams. He just primarily plays for Black, and he is a main sub for Crimson. Tofu is a sub for Black and Slate, though. But all in all, throughout both, I think all three of our teams, the fan favorite is definitely J-Riz, followed by Tofu. Both of them having a lot of enthusiasm for this game and just enthusiasm in general.
They have just huge enthusiasm for this program as well. I mean, without them, WCU Esports wouldn't be what it is today, but that's not to say that WCU Esports doesn't benefit from all of its players. Everyone here being passionate about winning and wanting to take the victories and take their team to Nationals. I mean, this year, Nationals more than likely going to be a LAN from what it sounds like in terms of NECC, so we're going to see how many we can get from WCU to Nationals. And honestly,
we did get that announcement earlier yesterday. The Nationals will not be in LAN this year. No, as they've decided against it with how growing the teams are. But from my understanding with the announcement, it also looks like every team that makes playoffs, no matter what this season, will make Nationals at least for a group elimination stage.
And that just it's more of just a round robin style bracket that you would see in, I think more than likely the most common that you see it is actually in the World Cup of soccer, I should specify, where each team plays a round robin to find the top two teams, and then those top two teams would move on to the playoffs for Nationals or for that title.
Correct. And with the multiple divisions here, I think they probably will be taking the top 16 from each division, other than Legends being only a 2-division bracket there. And they will move on to a bracket stage, which will be that more double elimination or even single elimination tournament.
Back on track here, we do see that Crimson is holding off Black fairly well here. Black not quite able to find the first checkpoint. Excuse me. And I think the payload about to be pushed back a bit here with 1 minute remaining on the clock to get to that first checkpoint. Yep. So Crimson definitely trying to just take control, take that momentum that they found last game, especially at the end of each round, and trying to have that carry them through the rest of this matchup. We do see the ult from Tofu. We do see the emo field come down, and no one's found because of that. Zero finds Blue, Tofu finding Ultra, and I mean, no one else getting found there.
From what I know on campus, that also is a roommate rivalry, as Tofu, Mango, and Ultra Cook are all in the same dorm room, playing essentially right next to each other for this game.
I think Medja and Mango both finding some kills there. on Nona and Goose, so Nona and Goose going to be a little bit far back, which isn't necessarily the best, and Black does find that first checkpoint.
With 19 seconds on the clock.
19 seconds on the clock. Both teams liking to play this to the last second here. Not willing to give up. Finding that last little burst of energy, trying to just finish it out. And Black are going to try and go for a little bit more offensive approach here. Not necessarily staying with the payload, having a couple of them run up ahead, trying to just get some early chip damage. Not able to find anyone though. We do see Nona come out with the ult, finding J-Riz.
But J-Riz is able to get that ammo field down to save the rest of his teams before he dies. We do see the wall come out here. Tofu is fighting for it here, trying to prove to Nona he is the better Sigma.
And I mean, this is just a battle back and forth.
Yep.
No way to check stats, but I guarantee you both of these teams are so high up in terms of damage, in terms of heals, in terms of mitigation. And every last piece of what they are doing is just keeping everyone there. Or every last piece being vital to their team's success. We do see 3 ults on each side. WCU Crimson having a little bit of an advantage here with Zero at 89%. And the closest on Black side being Boo at about 60. So, but we do see Black find that second checkpoint. 2:45 left on the clock to get to the end to set the tone here in this escort.
So after taking a quick peek at the stats from one of the spectator computers in our arena, Crimson is definitely winning the fight in terms of damage, but Black is definitely winning the elimination battle here, averaging about 2 to 3 elims per fight more than Crimson.
We see Ultra pop his ult, finding Boo and J-Riz, and then finding Mango just after that visor is finished. Tofu finding Megu and Ultra there.
Tofu does have to get out here though.
Deep in their
He is
backline
low.
too.
Nona does get a punch onto Tofu, killing him. Something you can't say in a lot of games.
And we see Nona just going, or not Nona, Zero, my apologies, going for the little peeks with Zero there. Just waiting for Black to try and come through the door.
Which we honestly might see Dragons here as well, as they are all bunched up in that corridor. So it'll force them to either back up. They do get the
they
TP
found the
out.
symmetric attempt, the TP, and there's going to be the Kitsune rush. Nope.
Nope.
Looked like it for half a second there, but I was mistaken. Another huge team fight here. Najarshan popping the wall. Boo, Mango, and J-Riz all looking for a good time to pop their ults.
Mej does try and go in there and take out Cook, but Megusaka finds him on that flank. Boo does shoot Cook. Goose finds Boo. It's Tofu against Nona here. One with Flux, one without Flux. That's going to be Tofu. Oh no, Zero finds J-Riz. Tofu's still alive here. Mango is keeping his roommate alive. But Ultra Cook does find Mango, and Nona does eventually find Tofu again with that punch.
I mean, that is just I mean, you can't do much there.
Yeah.
That was brutal. But, I mean, great plays from both teams there. WCU Crimson going to be hurting a little bit here as they don't have any ults. Megusaka the closest at 71%. Gaining pretty quickly, but not quite enough. Tofu, Mango, and J-Riz all have their ults. Probably going to get one here with 20 seconds left on the clock to find that last point.
A kill on Nona here would be massive, and it looks like they're gonna find it probably. As this forces Nona to back. We do see everyone TP onto Ultra Cook there. He only finds Mej, but he is able to get out in time. We do see the Kitsune come out here, and we're at the same point here where Black has to try and stall out Crimson to get this point in.
Infield coming out, keeping Crimson alive here. Cook getting found by Boo. Tofu almost falling there. Zero finding Boo there.
And
Nona finding J-Riz.
Is an alt fight here. Nona is playing for this Flux. This Flux will just end it if he can hit them off of cart. And he misses someone, but the Flux does find the people and kills them.
Crimson holding out strong in the last seconds there. Just like last time, Black needing to find that last little burst of energy to push them through to the end. Something that they definitely struggled with last map. So we'll have to see if they can find their way to keep Crimson further back. Black was struggling to get to that first point, but then they handily took the second and then couldn't quite finish out the third. Crimson here going to try and get a quick early first checkpoint, and if they can do that, I feel like that they have this map in the bag.
And we do see one of our other tanks from last year, S-Boy, hopping in the chat. He decided to take this semester off just to relax a little bit. Hopefully he'll join us next season, though, as his Doomfist was a killer.
Ready for battle.
And here we see, I mean, it looks like about the exact same comps as last time. Jarshin sticking with that Symmetra, something that's a little bit more interesting on this map. Can definitely help on attack, but defending the point, I'm not too sure about that teleport staying in or being used as much. That attack, getting that flank, really helped them.
Yep.
Almost set them up for a great success.
Yep.
They couldn't quite capitalize on it, but it really gave them that opportunity. I don't know quite what their plan is with the Symmetric teleport here. Maybe just getting from point a bit, or from spawn a bit further faster. But here they are waiting for everyone to come back out. So in 2 seconds, here we go.
And currently these next 4 minutes will decide who has the upper edge here, heading into a push map, one of the least favorite maps this entire season from a majority of teams across the NECC.
Zero does find Boo fairly early on. Tofu's wall falling pretty quickly there. Zero finds Boo as well. Or no, that was the first one.
Nearly picked off J-Riz there, though.
Yep.
Looks like Tofu noticed that.
Yep. Zero, as I mentioned on Blizzworld, is the eagle eye for Crimson, just being that sniping force from the backline. Really no answer to her unless you dive her.
Nona finding J-Riz, Ultra finding Meja there, and this could very well be the quick first point that I was talking about for Crimson.
This, both Crimson and Black offensives, especially on first point, have been really oppressive towards the defensive team.
Not much else to do there besides trying to just set yourself up in a better position, but I mean, once you've already committed to your first position, it's hard to get back out of it. As we see Ultra and Nona finding Tofu and Boo respectively, it's going to give him the first checkpoint. Nona there having his ult,
Already
Ultra almost on theirs,
some
Zero also
space.
almost on.
Taking lots of space here.
As Nona realizes they're down a tank, he could go for the Flux here, which would be massive if he can even just find one of them. But Black is able to get Mango and, Boo and Tofu back out there. But Boo's about to go down again from Zero. Just sniping them left and right. We do see J-Riz pop beat there, though.
Keeping his team alive.
Yep, and that beat was in response to the Flux, I believe, as Nona did pop Flux. We just couldn't see it from where we were at.
Ooh, what a pick on a cuck.
Boo coming out as a Zero, as a Hanzo as well.
Yeah, Boo's taking on Zero in the Hanzo Ditto. As we saw last time this matchup happened, this is anyone's Ditto here, as Boo was a sniper as well into Zero.
And Black takes control here, stopping Crimson about halfway through to that second checkpoint.
Yep.
So 3:55 left on the clock for Crimson to try and take this back, but Black,
We see the Flux come out, finding Ultra Cook, but also finding the Transcendence. That is a big ult that tried to get a save there, but really didn't do anything for Crimson.
Boo does find Zero there. Tofu finds the Immo field, and they very well could just push Crimson back off the point here.
J-Riz is getting a bit risky there, trying to go out on Nona.
Boo does find Megu there as well, so
Yep.
Crimson going to have to try and regroup once again. Black taking advantage of this, pushing forward even more.
Yeah, this is a very strong choke for first point and second point. It's a very weird map, Junkertown. It wasn't really liked, at least in Overwatch 1, by our Crimson or Slate team.
And we see Crimson almost all
We
falling
see the
there,
wall
but
come
getting
out.
that ammo field.
Just essentially canceling that
A
window.
Ultra falls. Zero just about falls there. I mean, Black taking early control in this and not wanting to give it up. 2:40 left on the clock.
Nona does
for
have
Crimson.
this flux. He does need to find J-Riz though. J-Riz does get the beat though, so which essentially nullifies all of Flux and makes it practically useless unless you can get the pick really quickly on the Lucio.
You got to find that pick on the Lucio before you can even pop that Flux. Just because if Lucio does pop that beat, that saves the entire team and it negates almost all of that damage that you just tried to pull off. Ultra does find Tofu.
And we do see the beat come out, something J-Riz probably shouldn't have done there. He did try and save Tofu though, but this is a full Flux team here, and Boo goes down. Mango really has nowhere to run other than back.
We do see Mango retreat all the way back. I think Black's just going to try and let Crimson take this first checkpoint here, give themselves a second to regroup, as Crimson is just hoping for them to come out of that one choke point.
They're actually going to try and stall it, and the Flux finds no one. Tofu does hit a Flux, finding two people, also finding ammo field. Mango coming out here, Boo throwing in the Dragons. That's a massive ult fight usage from Black, but it honestly might be the factor of who wins this game here.
I mean, a minute 30 left, and Crimson getting stopped just short of checkpoint 2 and losing almost their entire team there. We do see Zero having that Dragons, though. Dragons can push all of Black off of the point. Give Crimson the small opening to get in and take that checkpoint.
We do see a massive swap here. Actually, Nona swapping to the Winston, Goose swapping to the Lucio, and Megu on the Ana. They're going to go for a Blossom here.
Nona finds Boo there. Zero does pop the ult. Majarshin
Mesh
finding the
finds-
wall.
Yep.
Zero finds Mango.
Nona does dive into that backline. He's going to find Mej before Mej can find him. Tofu's the only one on point here, alongside J-Riz on the Lucio. J-Riz does get found very quickly by Zero.
Tofu getting fouled there, and I think that they were just trying to keep as many people up there as possible so they could try and get people into that into that closer respawn, but not quite able to do so. Crimson now has 2 minutes left to try and get to the same point that Black was.
They did get actually 4 people into that closer respawn, so it is just Tofu with the far respawn. Nona is going in here. He's probably going to swap. That's what it looks like. He does swap back to the Sigma. I don't think that was a good call here, especially losing all of that ult charge, but because that Winston was definitely working into them, getting the dive into that back lane.
Ultra, though, does have that Reaper Blossom. Loose Goose coming up with that beat, and Megu with that Nano coming up soon.
We will probably see a Nano Blossom here, as that will probably be the deciding factor in this fight.
It does look like they are setting up for that Blossom, though, and it could very well be big.
And here we see Megu with that Nano ready.
Here comes the Blossom.
We do see the Nano
Two.
Blossom.
Mez and Jay, there's the Nano as well. But was it in vain, as we see Flux and Kitsune come out, Flux and Kitsune not finding anyone, but definitely forcing the stall here.
And Tofu just trying to get some pressure onto the point. And, oh, Crimson gets stopped just short by Black. Are they going to find it? And it looks like they will find the win here.
We'll find it.
To put themselves up 2-1 going into round 4. So round 4 is push, I believe.
Yep.
Crimson going to try and carry that momentum once again. I mean, this is just a one and done, though. This is a whoever gets further faster.
No, with this play of the game actually on the last point here, this is the deciding Flux, I think. I do believe. It is, actually it's not, I don't think. But
I mean, it definitely helped. You can't say
definitely
it didn't.
helped, yeah.
But we will be right back after this, and once they select their maps, I mean, it'll be a very interesting round 4.
Yep.
And welcome back into Esperanza, I believe.
Esperanza.
Esperanza, as we...
Our token Hispanic correcting us there on the pronunciation of the Spanish map.
Well, he went Esperanza,
I am
but
not
she
that smart.
pronounces it as Esperanza.
Yeah, you guys should both know I am not too smart.
It's okay. There's no Dominus in this game, sir.
Don't need a Dominus, Octane hitbox only. For those of you who don't understand, I play Rocket League and I sub on Slate once in a blue moon. So I had my once, and I have essentially been retired by the team at this point. So...
But he might see a return next week
Oh, God.
against UNK.
Is UNK a team that you think that we can beat? And that's why you're subbing me in? Sorry for the cut there. He was just saying that, yes, he believes that I have a shot at doing some damage, as
Correct. And the Junkrat might be beneficial,
might be.
especially into their tank lineup.
But speaking of games and playing, let's get back to the one at hand, the push. We see Titan subbed in for Nona and Gummy subbed back in for Tofu. Meja and Boo sticking on DPS. Mango and J-Riz sticking on support for Black. And we see Luce and Megu stay. We see everyone staying besides the tanks. I should probably have said that. But we see a Diva versus Sigma in terms of the tanks. And then we see a Hanzo Soldier versus Reaper Tracer. And then Baptiste... I forget her name. Kiriko, that's the one. Versus Kiriko and Lucio. You see, I believe that is an early advantage for Black here.
Black does get the push to start this. This is match point, though, for Crimson. So Black does have to play a little conservative here, because all it takes is one mistake, and that might cost you the game.
I mean, this is a 10-minute round, though, or whoever finishes first. I mean, it is a battle no matter what to the end. So...
Yeah. As I was saying earlier, this is one of the least favorite maps currently in Overwatch 2, just the push category in general, as for the most part it is just a whoever can take the first 2 or 3 fights essentially gets a massive lead early, and it's a big push for the other team to come back.
Something I do know from pushes, though, is that it is a non-stop battle. There is no break.
Correct.
You just keep fighting. You spawn back in, you jump back in. And I think that is the first pick of the match. Megusaka finding J-Riz. But J-Riz and Mango already having their ults. Megu also having their ult. And we see Black, almost all of them, most of them being above 80% here. Whereas we already see a ult coming from Titan on Crimson's side. So,
Which, before the game here, our other commentator did say that Titan, who was the captain for Crimson 2 seasons straight, my first 2 seasons here, is taking on our new tank, who has been a driving force this game, and just both this season and last season in general, as he just came out of the rafters, kicking the crap out of people with his Diva. He does pop the self-destruct here, finding the ammo field and getting the robot to start pushing back. Boo pops the ult there, finding Zero and Ultra Cook.
Majarshin and Megu finding Titan and someone else, and then that is just a team kill on Crimson.
Yep.
I mean, I should have just let my words stop and just go for the easier option.
The
But
one downside to that fight, though, is we did pop all 5 ults from WCU Black. Not something you want to really do, especially with Cuck having that visor and Goose about to have the window online.
And I mean, the Zero with the Dragons is always a good option. That one just pushes people away, if nothing else. It makes them back up.
Yep.
Zero does find Majarshin really fast with a headshot. Hanzo being known for getting those quick hits. That fully charged one arrow to the head can just devastate an entire team's push.
And as I said, this is actually going bad for Black here, as Crimson is just pushing it and no one's really trying to stop him. As Zero and Ultra Cook just essentially distract the enemy team. Gummy finally gets back, though. Ultra Cook did find J-Riz, though. And Gummy will have to back up here, as it is a 2-on-5.
I mean, it is just going to be a... I can't really say anything else other than just a pure battle here. It's, as I mentioned earlier, it is going to be non-stop. It doesn't matter at what point in this match. There's not going to be a single second where you let someone just take control and you take a second to fully regroup. It's too hard on a push map. Unless you get team killed, you can't regroup and push as a team. You have to keep one going. Otherwise, the other team will get that fast advantage. They will get that control, and that can just devastate a team, and that can set an early lead that doesn't allow people to come back.
And we do see Flux come out here, as well as Jairus hit the beat, trying to save his team here. But Titan does find Boo in the long run. Titan also finds Jairus.
Jarson finding Zero there with a reverse headshot, a return to
Gummy
center.
is trying to find Megu here, just lasering into him. Gummy probably will try and pop his self-destruct here to just apply some pressure. Maybe not though. Mej and Gummy both on. He will pop the self-destruct.
Just to get that remake, though.
I mean, I don't
No,
blame you.
he didn't pop the self-destruct there.
Oh,
actually.
wow. Never mind. Misread on our
Yeah,
part.
my fault there. I thought he did. But
I mean, he's going to save it because they are so
Yeah.
close. They are just about at that first, or there's no major checkpoints here. It is just a constant push to the end on this one, which is a little bit different.
we do see Titan
The Titan
pulling
Rhine coming out here.
out the Reinhardt, his pride and joy baby. We'll see hopefully some fat shatters coming out from Titan here. One of my favorite comments ever walking into the esports arena for a game is Titan talking about one of his shatters. Don't think it's really appropriate to say on stream, so I'll leave it at that.
Black getting... oh, my God, Diva. Black getting essentially the entire Crimson team there.
And there we have it. I mean, Black just pushing forward still, taking a commanding lead. We're over halfway through this match before we even account for overtime, which, I mean, overtime, you can maintain possession from where it is on your side all the way through to the end. So it just is a matter of, can Black finish it out, push all the way to the end here, as we see 3 on that robot, 4 pushing on that robot, as, oh, Crimson coming in, trying to backline here.
And it does look like Titan actually might fall here. They have to pop the ammo to keep him alive. Reaper does come out finding both healers. Mej finds Zero. It's Ultra Cook and Titan versus the world here.
It was just Ultra Cook finding
Titan,
the world
yeah.
there, because Titan fell fairly early in that fight, especially for a tank.
Yeah.
And Black is just taking a commanding lead here, over 80 meters advantage as we've reached this final stretch with 3.5 minutes left. Black, very well, who I am rooting for to
hits
tie
the
it up.
shatter. Massive shatter for
Hits
Titan there.
J-Riz.
Finding everyone
Titan
except Boo.
3. Boo just
Boo's
trying to
trying
run away.
to get out. It does not look like he'll make it as
And
Titan
there it is.
charges
Reverse
after his
team
butt.
kill. 4 kills there, just from Titan alone.
But that also is a lot of pressure now resting on Crimson. Even though they did get the team kill there, they do still have to push almost 100 meters to just be in contention for this game.
I mean, it is going to be a fight to the finish, as we've mentioned throughout this entire series.
Yep.
An absolute battle for control, no matter where they are in the match.
Ultra Cook does have the Blossom. Jairus does have the beat, though. We might...
And on top of that, we see Diva almost getting the self-destruct here. Gonna back out a second. And there's the Blossom for Reaper, finding no one.
Gummy eats all of it. The self-destruct is up, finds Ultra Cook. Mej does find the ammo field. Titan dies here, as we also see Jairus pop beat. Zero's trying to win on the Cassidy, but Mej is running circles around her.
I mean, there is a little bit of an ult difference here, though, as Zero, Luce, and Megu all have their ults, whereas we only see Mango and Mej is the closest one at 86%. And Pulse Bomb, very situational, especially on a push map.
Right, this high noon is going to be a factor here, but also Gummy probably going to be the deciding decision, and if that high noon actually works, as he just has to fly straight at Zero and hold that DM, and there's not much Zero can do. Titan is forcing him back here. About 1:30 left in the match. We do see the Kitsune Rush come in from Mango. Boo does pop the Blossom, not finding anyone, but Titan is low.
Titan's very low, gonna fall here to J-Riz. Ultra Cook finding J-Riz with a headshot there.
Zero, the only one with their ult still online with that high noon. J-Riz is building that beat though, trying to get it quickly. We see the self-destruct come out again.
Finding Megu and the ammo field. which
Mej finds Ultra Cook.
which leads to Mej finding Ultra Cook because Ultra was chasing Gummy there, getting that headshot, setting Black down a tank, but not quite enough to find the rest of the team.
And we're in the last minute here. It's 2 ults to essentially 2 ults. At the moment, all Black has to do is stall them out. Crimson has to push 90 meters here in these next 40 seconds plus overtime, or else this is a WCU Black tying game, forcing it into a map 5 for control.
And I would love a map 5 regardless of who comes out as a victor, because no matter what, it's going
We
to be...
see the Shatter come out, not finding really anyone, but Ultra Cook does find Jay, the only one found in the Shatter. Gummy, Boo finds Titan, Mango finds Zero, Gummy finds Ultra Cook, and that might be the game right there.
Everyone found, including Goose there. Megusaka and Zero are going to have to come back
And
in
yeah,
fast. Zero's going to have to come in and pop.
They're pulling off the cart here, forcing Black to come to them. And this is going to be a Black victory at the moment, unless Titan gets the ball in here. He's going for it.
Titan gets the ball in just to get control, or just to get a touch on point to push it into overtime. Zero going to have to come in with the high noon. Megusaka popping the mirror, or the window there. There comes the ult from Zero.
Boom might be hurting himself there, though, as he is the one that pushed it forward slightly, so Titan could get the grapple on it. Titan does start to get the push here. Hops out. Titan's ball, also an amazing factor in this match.
I mean, that ball really is keeping us alive. It is keeping Crimson on point, and Crimson's going to get the push here. They have to maintain this control on the robot in overtime.
Mango does die, but that might be a massive death for Mango specifically. As we see self-destruct not in here. Gummy gets back in his tank. We see self-destruct plus Blossom plus Kitsune online. All 3 deadly ults if you cannot avoid them.
I mean, at this point, the best option, I think, for Black is to have Reaper go in and then have Gummy follow up, or have Gummy go in first, pop that self-destruct on the robot just to keep Crimson off of it, and then have Boo go in slightly behind and pop that Blossom.
Titan might go down here. They have no shield to stop this. Gummy throws in the self-destruct in the corner. We see it find Megu.
Or find the ammo field.
We see Kitsune go in here.
And here goes Boo with the Blossom.
Finding Goose, finding Jay, finding Cook. It's just Titan and Megu. It's just Titan now. And
that's going to do it.
Black wins.
ties it, pushing it to map 5. You can't ask for a better competition here, especially for an in-house between Crimson and Black. A close match through and through. Me getting my wish of it being a game 5 regardless of the victor. Boo getting play of the game here as Reaper. See, and it's going to be right here at the end. An absolutely perfect Blossom. I mean, you can't ask for better there. Getting 3 kills, forcing Zero and Titan to just take damage. You can't do much else. So a wonderful matchup here. Crimson versus Black, 2-2, going into game 5 here in just a minute, and we will be right back. Here we are. I got my wish. It is map 5. Can't ask for a better game than this. WCU Crimson versus WCU Black going into Ilios for the final control. Who will win?
So we did have another caster come into the room. Shadow Knight joining us. What's your predicting factor here? Who's going to take map 5? We currently have 2 votes for Black and 1 for Crimson.
Zero currently having a stroke, by the way.
I mean, picking Cassidy, you gotta kind of assume, but
Oh, so is Mango.
everyone just going to town on the keyboards there. But yeah,
Both teams
Shadow,
have-
knowing absolutely nothing about either team here, we just want to hear your prediction. I was contrarian to these two, just picking Crimson. Those two both picking Black, just for the fan favorite.
5, 4,
I'm gonna go Crimson,
Being contrarian as well, or?
just from their setup.
the objective.
I mean, Titan obviously starting out with Reinhardt, from what
Yeah,
this was saying. one of their
definitely,
favorites.
I think, a better choice than the Sigma he tried to pull off at the start of Esperanza.
We do see a Symmetra teleport from Black here,
Titan
trying to
does
get
get
in
in
point.
here, trying to force it out here.
How many more times are you gonna say here there?
Here. Forcing them out of the pocket. Titan about to go down, though. He has to back up or he will die, as Boo is just lasering the Reaper shotguns right into him.
Zero
Boo
finding
trying to
J-Riz
get a
there.
TP out. He doesn't get it as Zero finds him. And this might be bad as Mango gets stuck in a corner.
J-Riz in that, after getting popped by Zero there, just absolutely losing it, typing absolute gibberish
Yeah,
in chat.
Titan and Megusaka just put Mango in timeout there in the corner.
I mean, it is just going to be a pure brawl here. Neither team wanting to lose to the other, wanting to have all of the bragging rights in WCU's Overwatch arena.
We see Gummy pulling out the Ramatra, getting on top of the point. He is dropping into point here. We did see some turrets get shot in there, as Ultra Cook is currently saying
Zero
why he's
gets
the better Symmetra.
Zero gets a triple kill there, finding J-Riz, Boo, and Meja. Megu finding Gummy there, and then Megu finding Mango shortly after getting a team kill. Ultra Cook proving that they are the better Symmetra in this moment.
Yep.
Majarshan trying to find the correct teleports, can't quite find it. Gummy switching to Winston here. An interesting choice, but not necessarily a bad one. I mean, Winston in this short, or in this spacious but also confined area of Ilios is a wonderful pick. I'm surprised I haven't seen Meja switch over to Junkrat yet, but does switch to Pharah there. An interesting choice from Meja.
Interesting choice. He is trying to contest Zero, who is running hit scan. Not usually a good decision on anyone's part,
mean,
as
Mango
Zero
falling-
will snipe him out of the sky.
Mango fell off the edge there, possibly just a boot
Maybe.
from Loose Goose, but we don't quite know.
Mej about to die here. Lucio, the only heals he's getting currently. They are pushing up top. They take out the turrets easily. Here comes the Shatter, not finding anyone other than the tank because Gummy throws down a shield.
And we've been so lost in the battle, we failed to even realize Crimson is at 98%, about to take map, or the first round of it, handily 100% to 0 in the first round of Ilios. Crimson wanting to send a message in map 5.
Titan hearing my comments about calling him a little rusty into Gummy. Definitely stepping it up this game.
I don't even know what J-Riz is typing, but sure.
15,000 kroners. Definitely selling some product here.
I mean, speaking of trying to sell product, before we even had the stream on Overwatch, J-Riz was trying to advertise his SoundCloud in the chat.
And it was accepted by Zero. Definitely a competition here now. Zero definitely listening to J-Riz's SoundCloud, trying to keep that hype up.
I mean, Zero using J-Riz against J-Riz, not necessarily the worst idea. To beat your enemy, you must become your enemy. Zero trying to become J-Riz here, but
We do see Boo swapping to the Bastion here as we're on Ilios Ruins.
Gummy going back to the Orisa, something that Gummy started with in this entire series.
Yep.
I mean, it's just been back and forth
Plays off the
nonstop.
magnetic grenade from Cassidy. Does find the Orisa, and Orisa's getting shredded here by those Symmetra turrets. something that it does seem like a few of our teams struggle with is just taking out those turrets in general.
Crimson getting the early capture once again. Now just going to try and find all of Black, trying to pick off one
Boom.
by one.
Hops into turret farm, trying to find anyone, but they just walk around a wall.
I mean, that's the best way
Simple
to...
solution to Bastion, get behind a wall.
I mean, simple solution to not getting killed is just hide.
Titan
But
goes for a
speaking
charge
of not
there.
getting killed, Majarshin finding Megu, Boo finding Titan, Gummy finding Ultra. That is going to be enough to push Crimson off of point there, except for the one who's trying to contest. Crimson only getting 26% as opposed to the commanding 100 from last time. I think the Orisa here is working as well as the Bastion.
I don't think Goose really had to try and stay there. There wasn't much to get out of it. He could have gotten beat, but overall, it would have been better off just to die and not let Crimson get some, Black get some free ult charge from him. We do see the wall come out here. Titan's already 50% back to Shatter. Boo has artillery. We do see J-Riz hit the beat. Boo does fall to Ultra Cook.
We also see Meja having switched over to Soldier, something that we didn't see at all during the series. Majarshin having stayed with Symmetra, Sombra, and Junkrat for the most part.
Yep.
And here we go, Titan finding Majarshin, Ultra finding Mango, and that's going to be control back to Crimson.
So neck and neck fight here. If Crimson wins this point, they do take the series 3-2 in an almost reverse sweep fashion. If Black takes the series here, we go to a final sudden death point on Ilios, and it will be, well, a map that is heavily hated by a lot of players in Overwatch, as there are so many characters that can just abuse the fact that the middle of that point is just a death trap.
And we see a team kill coming from Crimson there. Crimson not wanting to give this up, having that lead 63-36. And 2 ults, 2 Blacks, 3 Black, really needing to get back in here fast to try and gain control and push us to the final round. Something that I would love to see.
Yep.
Something that I said from game 1, wanting to find that go down to overtime, final
He hits
match.
the ult. He does get shredded for it slightly, but he is able to take out the turrets before it happens. Mej pops the visor. We do see all the ults coming out here as we see Kitsune Rush come out, but both support ults popped for Overwatch Crimson, for WCU Crimson, as Black tries to take, or Black's going to try and take point here.
They find
it is
it.
the wall. They get the point, but Titan gets in here. This could be bad for Titan, but Titan also forces them off of point. Gummy's on the retreat here. Titan
And
definitely showing why it was the captain for WCU Crimson.
Black gonna have to try and push here with 3% left, having to get back in time for overtime. They get the contest, but it's gonna slowly wind down here, having to get the touch. They do, and it's going to be up to this final battle here. If Crimson holds
There's
out,
the
then they're gonna
beat.
take the match. If Black takes this, it is going to be a fight to the finish in this round.
It's just Jay. Titan has his Shatter online. All it takes is one big Q button, but Mango does find Titan. They're fighting for it here. Boo comes in,
And there it is.
but it does
That's
look
it.
like Crimson will take it.
taking the match 3-2, winning that final control 2-0. An absolutely phenomenal series. Something that both of these teams should be proud of. An amazing matchup. I really hope that we get to see these two scrim in the future, because there's a lot to learn and there's a lot of fun here. But for now, there's nothing much else to say than Crimson took it 3-2, and it was hard fought through and through. Looked like it was going to be a commanding victory from Black out of the gate, but then in those last dying moments of game 2, momentum really swung in Crimson's favor, and they didn't let that die down. So just an absolute brawl from both teams. Crimson ending up on top, and just fun.
Very fun to watch. Very, very fun to watch.
But for now, I have been JoJo's Mojo, joined by Sponge, Dis, and Shadow. And I think that's going to send us off tonight. So thank you all for tuning in.
Join us tomorrow as WCU Crimson Rocket League takes on
Someone.
and you'll probably be joined by JoJo Mojo and Disagree for that game as well. See you then.
See you then.